volume is determined by dividing category volume by total volume, which mine may be a different name there because I wasn't getting the rename. Okay, so let's build our query. This time we're not doing it off of tables, we're doing it off a query. And let's see, we're going to do query volume by category and query total sales volume. Those two. One's going to have the numerator, one's going to have the denominator. We're going to pull category down, category volume, and then we're going to do a formula here. We're going to zoom it, and it says category. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we're going to do percent of sales volume, and it's going to be, if we look at our formula, it is going to be, category volume divided by total. So category volume divided by I lost where I was at. So category volume by total volume. Okay. So that's the one that's going to give us our percent. So when we run it, we're going to get our railroad tracks. So we know. So here's our total count by each category, and then here would be their percent of the total sales. So I want to take that, go to my property sheet, go to Format, percent, run it again. We get that. I want to make sure that we have 100%. So I go and in the datasheet view, I hit totals, I come here, I say sum, it should equal 100, and then I just want to make sure I'm the bottom of, okay, so we want to do it for both columns. So we're going to click on here and sum. So we have our total, so 448, which should match total sales volume, 448, and it does. So we have 100%. We're going to, sorry, I lost my mouse there. Come on. We're going to save that. It's going to be called QRY, percent of sales volume. Okay. And then we're done with that. So we're on to step 15, which is create a query based on product that displays product description, category, and a calculated field named physical volume that shows the physical volume of each item. So to the right of the volume field, add a calculated field, remaining volume, that determines which items can fit into the smallest shipping box, which has a total volume of 142 cubic inches. Save the query as query physical volume and close the query. All right, so let's think about how we're going to do that. So we need to do a query to create. The table that we need is product. That's the only one we need. And then from here, we want to put, we had to put product description in, category, and then we're going to do two calculations. So our first calculation is to figure out physical volume. So physical volume is height times length times depth. So we're going to do physical volume, height times length times depth. Okay, so that gives us for this particular item, what is the volume of space, whoops, needed to ship that one item. Okay, so you can see a keychain, right? Small, mug bigger, sweatshirt, right? Those all kind of make sense, right? So now we're going to come back and we're going to try and figure out based on the smallest box size, which is 142 cubic centimeters, how much is left from shipping that item. So we're going to go to Zoom, and this is going to be called remaining volume. And we're going to take the size of the box. In this case, it's going to be the smallest shipping box, and we're going to subtract how much volume the item is that we're talking about. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do 142 minus the physical volume. We're going to run it. All right, so what do we see from that? Right, we have some that are showing that, hey, that's not going to fit in a small box. We need a big box for that. All right, so let's go back and look and see if we did everything we needed to do. To the right, add a calculated remaining volume determines what items the smallest shipping box, which has a volume of 142 cubic inches. Sorry. Save the query as query physical volume and close the query. So query physical volume. Let's save it. QRY physical volume. Okay. Just run it one more time, make sure we're good. And we can close out of that. So the next thing, so we did the physical volume, this one. So 17, create a query based on the query physical volume, the one we just made, that displays the description and a calculated field name % of physical volume that calculates the percentage of physical volume for each item if the smallest shipping box has a total volume of 142 inches. Only display products that are in the baby category. Format physical % of physical volume as a percentage and save it as query % of physical volume. So we only want things that are baby. We need to figure out percentage of physical for each of the shipping. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to create a query in query design. We need not a table but a query. The query that we need is physical volume. We need product description. And then we're going to put a calculated field in. Right, that is going to be called % of physical volume, and it's going to use physical volume because that's where we determined it in this query right here, divided by 142. So 142, the size of the box, is the denominator. I'm going to click on that, and we're going to run it. Got the railroad ties, so we know we have to come here and format that appropriately, which would be a percentage, because that's what we're doing, a %. So we close that, run it again, boom. So the ones that are bigger, you can see that their % is over 100%. So, but we're getting everything, right? We only want the category of baby, right? So we need to put category in there. I don't want to see it. You know what? I'm going to leave it on for right now. And then we're going to do asterisk, baby, asterisk. just to validate, hey, I am only seeing baby things. Then I come back and I uncheck it because we're not supposed to show it. Right? Just kind of make that so it looks good. So we're going to save this, and we're going to save this as QRY PCT of physical volume. And I think we're done with this first one. Okay, so this first homework, or this homework, not the assessment, didn't really have any SQL, but I wanted to go through it for everybody, and then I'm going to do movies for the assessment for this chapter because I think it's so important, and the SQL stuff is very different. So I'm going to go ahead and save this or get out of this. And all right, guys, good luck.